What's good, you guys? We're Frost here, and yes, the Modern Warfare 3 beta is over with. At the time of recording this, the gameplay you're seeing is probably maybe my first 5 games in when it comes to the beta, but I've probably put a good solid 45, 50 hours into the Modern Warfare 3 beta, and I do have some good things to say, and I also have some bad things, but I'll eventually just get around to the point where just kind of my overall consensus about Modern Warfare 3 and how I felt about it in the first place. So, first things first is just mostly I want to talk about is the performance. For some odd reason, the performance was actually pretty good. On top of that, it even came with a game ready driver update on the beta, and you could tell that that's already a monumental step forward because I don't really think we got that for MW2, and we for sure didn't get that on launch because that game was crashing. That game was completely just all over the place, and I still have a sour taste of MW2 in my mouth. I wish I would have never pre-ordered it just out of boredom because there was just nothing for me to play. I would say I ended up stop playing it around season 3, but we're not talking about that mud ass game no more. We're talking about MW3, right? So I will say a good couple things, right? So number one is the movement. Of course, everybody's gonna talk about the movement, how it's faster, how it's much more responsive. Um, you can slide canceling and all sort of stuff. You can finally aim faster. Everything just feels much more fluid, and it feels like you actually can get around the map and do what you want. It's pretty less incentive on camping. Another thing, TTK is much more higher. A lot of people don't really like this because a lot of guns, which I'm going to get into in a little bit, just haven't been really hitting well, and maybe you're just pretty much just shooting pea shooters all the fucking time. And it's like I can live to learn with it. It's just mostly just the weapon balancing and stuff like that. Like I said, we're gonna get into that in a little bit. But the movement in general for player to player, I think is good. It's gonna have a good amount for a skill gap, which is gonna separate good players from the best players. Um, in those brackets, and then the not so good players, separating the good to the to the above average to your your sweats or your competitive players, right? I would kind of consider myself a competitive player, but I feel like a lot of people that play Call of Duty has just that casual competitiveness into them. It kind of just happens, if you want to go competitive when it comes to COD, you can. There is competitive things about it, but to me, I feel like Call of Duty as a competitive game has to do a lot of things in order for it to be like a surefire competitive game. I get it, there's a competitive scene. To me, I don't mind watching it. It just doesn't really feel as much as a competitive game as I would look at it or see it. So anyways, yeah, movement's good. TTK, I like it. I do like it, and I'm gonna talk to you guys why about it, because it creates incentive on gunfights. It creates incentive on gunfights on who's going to be more accurate. On top of that, who's going to get the most damage, right? I get it. People are going to be double stacking, fuck it, triple stacking when it comes to, the stacking health on each other, when it comes to pushing. A lot of that is really situational and just planned. It's really annoying. Yes, you would see it. I've seen it a lot of the times in the beta, but I don't really think it's too much. Especially whenever there's a bit more weapon balancing, then it'll be pretty decent. So TCK is pretty good. The maps, as far as the maps go, these are Modern Warfare 2 remastered maps, and I wasn't really the most avid MW2 player, or at least for 2009. I wasn't that much of an avid MW2 fan around that time. I was too busy enjoying, I think it was Modern Warfare 1 when I still had it. I didn't really own MW2. And then once Black Ops 1 came out, I just fell in love. I just couldn't play MW2 as much anymore. So I think the MW2 maps are cool into coming back. The flow for them, like you're gonna be able to parkour on different, get to spots that you never really thought you would be able to get to, and I think that's pretty cool. With the whole engine and stuff like that, I think it's interesting. I don't really know how it's gonna be for competitive, and what maps they're really gonna pick for competitive, but I think that is going to be kind of just the maps are good. They're not bad. People are familiar. There are some not so good maps in W2. Um, but you know, people are just gonna have to live with it, you know, because it's just content for the game. So the maps for the beta were pretty good. We got to play Rust, High Rise, what was it, Favela, Skid Row. I'm not really the biggest fan of Skid Row, but you know, yeah, we had Skid Row, and then what was the fifth map? I forgot the fifth map. Oh my goodness. And yet I've had 45, 50 hours in the beta, huh? I just forgot the fifth map, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyways, oh, Estate, my bad. There it is. Um yeah, so the movement, TTK, the gunplay still is crispy. The sounds and everything also as well. It's really good sounding too. You know, getting hits and getting kills. You know, they're not really, you know, crazy sounds, but they're more of, you know, like chink, like yeah, you got that kill, or it was a headshot. Headshot sounds are really satisfying. The gunplay itself is really good. It feels like standard MW2, but much more faster paced. And that was the thing that people liked about MW2 with its gunplay. The gunplay was addictive. The flow of the game was terrible. It was just, you just couldn't do anything in that game. You were just pretty much a fucking slug or whatever. And like I said, the weapons are pretty good. The weapons are good. It was nice to see the ACR come back and probably be the best weapon in the beta, as well as the Striker or the UMP45. Those two are pretty much the best weapons in the game. And if there's something that I don't really like, is just kind of using the best weapons in casual game modes. I kind of want to just have fun and use other weapons and stuff like that. And that's why I was bumping around with the SV. What was it? The SV, not the SVU. I forgot what it's called, but the SK. It's the AK, the variant type gun. But that gun, we're gonna get into that one for, specifically. But then I was also messing around with the Baz B, and you know, the LMG, the Pulmoyot. It was just a lot of those weapons feel good, sound good. Oh my gosh, they outdone themselves with the sound. So I think that's also a really good thing that they established. They pretty much established a good foundation when it comes to the multiplayer for MW3, and I think that is, I would hope so, would be the main focus for this year, because last year MW2's multiplayer got left in the dust and neglected by its own creators, into basically saying, oh, well, we think this is completely fine, so we're not going to change this, and it doesn't matter. I think our game, you know, plays well. Well, you see now, people don't even want to play MW2 after they got done playing the MW3 beta. It's actually well received, because of its pacing and because of its fluidity. And I genuinely think that if these changes, which I'm going to get into in a little bit, if these changes are going to be made, I think we're going to have probably, if not one of the best foundations for Call of Duty to ever go back on leading into the next year's COD. So if the next year's COD is trash, which is probably not going to be, it's made by Treyarch, let's be honest here, it's probably not going to be trash. So if next year's COD is somehow trash, then we could go back to MW3, and then if the COD after that is bad, we can go back to MW3, because it's gonna have anti-cheat. May not be the best anti-cheat, but it's something that they could kind of work around with and update and fix. I don't know. It's just a lot, man. But MW3 actually has my hopes up for the future, or for what COD is, because they have made changes off the gate, you know, making it 10 times better. Like the perk system is back. Not really the perk system, but it's basically gear, which are basically the perks of the game that you get to equip. And there's also risks that kind of get rid of certain gear that otherwise would be overpowered, having that with the gear plus on top of that. So I think that's a good balance for everything. We have covert sneakers. Ghost is back, and it you know, works the exact way that it's supposed to work. And then it's just, I think the perk system is great. You have your perks off rip no matter what. You don't have to, you know, play out the game and then earn them as you go. It's just that was just such a really dumb system, and it just fucked up the whole flow for the game. So I think that was also pretty good. Now I'm gonna say some not so good things about the beta. There's a lot of good things about the beta. It's very addictive. I can't lie to you. It's really addictive. I wish I was playing it right now, but we're not gonna be able to play it until the game releases. So Now I'm going to say some bad things. Number one, the first bad thing that I really want to talk about is the spawns. Oh my fucking god. So basically, they got rid of the whole squad spawning. Basically, the slam can where whenever you die, and then when you're about to respawn, it's like an overhead view of the map before it slams you into your character spawn. And mostly these spawns will be good for not good, but for be when these spawns will be whenever you spawn next to your teammates, right? Which will be like a squad spawn. They got rid of that, which is a good thing because I didn't like slam cam. I didn't like slam spawns or anything like that. The issue is the spawn logic. The spawn logic was by far the most egregious thing about the beta. The way how some people just randomly spawn on different sides of the map that you're controlling is very, and I quite literally mean, it was so, oh my goodness. When I tell you this is probably the only thing like I was really getting pissed off about of the beta, it was really that bad. Like it was just unbearable. I really just could not do it. And the whole spawn logic was pretty much messed up, busted. I really do hope, and this goes across for every map. The spawn logic has to be maintained and fixed, because if it doesn't, then well, we're gonna be here for it's gonna be a rough year, man. Because the spawns have to work to some level. It can't just be just like how it was for the beta. It was really bad, and some people would just like, not even some people, but like literally 3 to 4 people would spawn literally behind you when you're holding or controlling something. In domination, you could hold like 2 flags and then let somebody have the A flag, but then for some reason whenever one person rotates near A flag, 5 people start spawning on C, and now you're completely flanked due to spawn issues, and then you literally lose all of your momentum and everything like that, and just resets. Some people, including High-Rise, High-Rise probably had one of the, if not the worst spawn systems known to man. Just having people spawn under the map, it was so damn predictable and easy to get kills because people literally kept spawning under the fucking map. It was just super bad. It was just so bad. But hopefully they do get those fixed. And I think that is just simply one of the most annoying things that happened during the beta. Another thing that was really annoying in the beta, the bomb drone, wherever the fuck it is. That shit as a lethal should be immediately equipment. Like, no debate. You should be able to have equipment load for that. Not just, or for a field upgrade, right? But it's called equipment for field upgrades. So it should be a field upgrade, not just a lethal. That shit is so busted. Even if you have EOD padding, you're pretty much one shot off rip. And it's just such an annoying thing, because some people, literally, I would challenge some people and they would just bomb drone. They don't care about shooting their gun. They just bomb drone. It's just an easy kill. It's an easy multi-kill, if anything, if you just know where to throw it and you know exactly where people are spawning. It's just easy kills. And it's just really stupid. It's a very casual thing. I don't really mind it, but it's just the fact that you just have it all spawn every time and it's just an instant kill. Practically, that is the most annoying thing about that shit. It was just, you just had it every other time. So another thing I want to talk about was the TTK. I know I said some good things about the TTK, but some weapons, like, what was it, the SVA, that weapon, the AK, whatever, that gun, with the amount of damage and range it has, was pretty much a, what was it, it was just like just shooting pillows at somebody. It was just way too many hit markers. I feel like the weapons just weren't balanced enough. Some of them, at least, weren't balanced enough to their ranges, and I feel like that was one of them, because I really wanted to like that gun. If there's one thing that I like about shooters, is AKs. I love AK-47s and just the variants of those AK-47s. Not really the AK-12. I wouldn't mind using the AK-12, but it's not my favorite variant. But the SVA, whenever I saw it, I was like, oh, this is like an AK sort of variant-ish type of weapon that shoots 5.45 millimeter. I'm just like, okay, well, maybe I like it, and I just don't like it. I've tried decking that weapon out for damage. I tried everything for range, and it just fails every time. It just doesn't win gunfights. I hope that they, kind of mess around with the weapon balancing and make sure. I would hope that they do that for preseason. I would assume so, because, I mean, there's not a lot of time that they have, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna be working on the store and just a lot of the purchases, and then making sure the game performance as well, and making sure, you know, shit. I would say the balance for the weapons off rip are just gonna be the focus, and making sure everything works out of the gate. So yeah, I forgot there was one thing that I was really getting annoyed by, but I don't know, man. It was just a lot for the beta. Of course, the SBMM was cranked to the highest. I'm just not fucking surprised. I genuinely wish that they could tone it down or just turn it off altogether. But obviously, we know that they won't turn it off. I don't really think they should, because I mean, we're at a point in gaming now where gaming is everywhere, and a lot of the people have gaming, you know, setups and shit like that, and people are just gonna be getting better every day. That's just how it is. Um, I do believe that yes, there is a way to protect the very low end bracket of players, but SBMM should not be in casual. Period. It should just only be in competitive off rip out the gate. You know, just never in casual modes, because then it ruins the fun of a lot of things, right? So what if people get stomped? I used to get stomped all the fucking time when I was a kid, and look, you know, look at me now. I can actually aim and shoot, and I can hold my own, and I'm a very competitive player. That's just how it is, right? So um, dude, there was something that I didn't really like about the beta. It might have been towards like a gun or something, but not really. Um, it not really. So I would say the visibility was pretty annoying too as well. Oh, speaking of visibility, I do believe that they should bring back health bars or some sort. They should at least do that. They should at least incorporate some sort of health bar, or just show us how much damage we did to them before, um, you know, before anything. I would encourage health bars because it gives us a brief understanding of what our guns are doing in certain situations and how much damage we're actually doing per hit, depending on what body part. I think that would be a beneficial change. But yeah, I would say out the gate, a lot of things for the beta was really fun. It has a lot of potential to be a really good, solid Call of Duty. Um, and usually this will be the part where it's like, oh, but are you gonna pre-order it? I feel like people are entitled to, you know, do or buy whatever they want, you know, with their money. At this point, Call of Duty is a household name. You could say Call of Duty and people are very familiar with it. So it doesn't really leave a lot of people's minds, and people are already accustomed of what Call of Duty is, and some people would just literally buy it just to buy it. So I do think that if that's your choice, that if you really do want to buy this next COD, because it's actually not that bad. There's just a decent amount of fixes that need to be done, and I can't really verify that on leading up into release. I just know that the preseason or just the honeymoon phase of the game could be good if they work on a lot of those fixes that we had from beta up until launch. So I think if that's the case, then it'll be a really good Call of Duty to play. You know what I'm saying? Aside from the SBMM factor and all that shit. So yeah. Um, but as far as, you know, pre-ordering, I don't really encourage pre-ordering. A majority of you should know this. Pre-orders don't really do much when it comes to you, and you only get the benefits of, you only get much more of the benefits using the better editions of it than just random pre-orders. You don't really get a lot, and to be honest, you buying the game, you already get those rewards like come release. So it's like, it's pretty much pointless. Or you could just wait for it to be on sale. But I mean, overall, I enjoyed the beta. I would give the beta a 8.5 out of 10. Definitely better than last year's beta because of just how fast and just fluid the game was, and just it was really addictive. I can't lie. I couldn't really put it down that much. I could actually, you know, withstand a lot of the issues that the game had. It didn't really have I didn't have any problem with crashing at all. So, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. I'm pretty sure I might have left a couple stuff. Sorry. Indigestion. I'm pretty sure I might have just left a couple stuff that needed to be said. If you want to, you can fill those out in the comments down below, how you feel towards it and what you liked and what you didn't like. And yeah, as always, peace.